normally it's be okay now.
Thank you. So the recording is on. And okay. So today's agenda is, first of all, we will present to you Protect in a nutshell, because this webinar was open only to providers that have not contributed to the survey that we had. And therefore, we decided to present the Protect and some results that we had so far, including results and feedback from the Earth observation climate services mapping that we have been conducting for the last few months. At the same time, we will give you an introduction to innovation procurement, main features and benefits of pre-commercial procurement. And also, you'll have some examples from innovation procurement projects. And the webinar will end with an open discussion and a Q&A. And now I will give the floor to my colleague Marwan Shamek from GAC Group to present you our project.
Thank you, Ioana. I think your presentation is not moving. I think, can you move the slides? Because you're still like in the first slides.
For me, it's moving.
So
maybe you're not sharing the right screen, Ioana, or the right capture.
I'm gonna try again.
It's also on. It's not in the presenter mode yet. The presentation, it's in editing mode. What we can see. Hopefully that will help.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Now it's good.
Thank you.
Is it moving?
Yeah.
All right. Then we started the recording. And here's the agenda for today that I was presenting to you. The presentation of Protect, presentation of results from the Earth observation climate services mapping, the presentation about innovation procurement, the main features and benefits of it, the innovation procurement project examples, and the open discussion. And now, is it okay, Marwan, for you?
Yes, yes, it's okay. So good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ioana. Thanks a lot for everyone to be here with us today. So today will be occasion to present to you the project and to understand your main challenges as providers in order to possibly mitigate these issues during the future PCB call. So as Ioana mentioned, this webinar will be recorded. So Ioana, can you go for the next slide, please?
Yes,
so,
can you see?
Yes, what is Protect? Who are we? So Protect is a project funded by the European Commission in the context of Horizon Europe program. And if you would like to learn more about the call, who would like answer to create this nice project, you can go through this link by the way, you will receive this slide in the end of the meeting by email. And you can go through this link and you see and read more about the call. So Protect is coordinated by GC Group. And of course, we are not alone. We have like 10 European partners over Europe, as you can see in the map here. And if you'd like to know more about these partners, you can go through our website and you can read more. And if you want to contact with them or to contact with us, the project started in June 2022. So we are almost in the halfway of the project, and it will last for 1 year more. So it will end in the 31st of May. So about one year from now. Next slide, Ioana, please. So Protect, for who this may have already been on our website and read about our activities and goal. So our goal is to prepare and create a community of public authorities and specifically public buyers that will be prepared and equipped in order to understand and undertake in the future one or more pre-commercial procurement in order to steer the development of next generation climate services that use Earth observation, and this the project community is focusing about 5 domains, which is like These domains have the same needs and similar challenges for the public authorities. And as you can see in the slide, the 5 domains: the marine and coastal environment, energy and utilities, sustainable urban communities, and agriculture, forestry, and other land use, and civil security and protection. Next slide, please, Ioana. So the specific objective of Protect, as I mentioned before, it's like the primary objective is to build the community and preparing the community and creating one or several group of public authorities which they are facing common challenge and they have similar needs, and also helping them to identify and aggregate their needs. And this has been done already by different activities. We'll talk about it in the next slide, and also increasing the awareness on different topics, including on relevant standard certification and geodata sharing principle, which is something very important where when you are dealing with the Earth observation, as well also leverage the additional investment and invest more money at the European level in order to steer the development for a new opportunity for PCP or any other innovation procurement approach in the area of Earth observation and environmental observation. And also as well also the end to encourage them to exchange with between them between the public authorities and share the knowledge in the specific area of climate services. Next slide, Ioana, please. So the main key stakeholders for Protect, as you can see here, I will not go in details, but the public buyers from cities, regions, and other procurement organizations from the EU 27 member state, as well also the SMEs, startup. That's why we are here with you today, as well also with multiples and stakeholders to share the knowledge and to learn from other projects where they have similar objectives as a Protect. So the key thematic area for Protect, so we have like the first one, the innovation procurement, where it's included 3 process: the pre-commercial procurement and the public procurement of innovation, as well innovation partnerships. And what's more interesting for us in Protect, the pre-commercial procurement, of course the others, but we are focusing more about the PCP. As well for the Earth observation, Protect looks at the 3 Earth observation data collections, like based on space-based observation and institute observation and citizen observation, as well the climate action. The Protect shall steer the development of solutions and services in the area of both climate change adaptation and mitigation. Here, just like shortly and roughly, we'll talk about the preliminary challenge and need identified during the activities by the stakeholders. We have the thermal monitoring for the domain of sustainable urban community. We have identified the thermal monitoring and the predicting waste fire to avoid any damage in the waste storage or air pollution, using automated system to monitor the level of humidity and the temperature, and also other conditions, as well for the civil security and protection. So we identified the illegal dumping of waste and sending automated alert to prevent the flow of waste, causing cross-border damage, and producing standardized report that can serve as a proof for any criminal scenarios, as well also for the marine and coastal environmental. To the rapid and reliable mapping of floods area to help them in the risk management for this crisis by planning and preventing and predicting, and even also for the post intervention, as well also for the agriculture, forestry, and other land use. The detecting climate vulnerability in the face of challenge like salinity affecting the productivity of the vegetation, and also for the energy and the energy and utilities by predicting the demand of the sweet water from different users by connecting the supplier with connecting the supply and demand of water for diverse uses in the water value chain to tackle period of drought. So this first needs identified through different, of course, activities. And here, as we can see, like some of the activities I will not go in detail, but you can see the timeline of these activities have done through Protect team. So we have like the survey to identify the challenges and enabling frameworks of PCB of primarily needs of Earth observation climate services. It's still ongoing. This is for public authorities, and also we're building the Protect community for public authorities, and to share with to share between the members the knowledge, as well also to share the Protect visibility and connecting with the other stakeholders. That's what we have done through the Smart City Expo World Congress in Barcelona last year. And also as well, we have the mapping of Earth observation climate service providers, which is like some of you already contributing for this. Thanks a lot. And also we have the taxonomy of climate services, and we have the second slide, the upcoming events. Some of these events already have done. Next slide, Joanna, please. Yes, so here we have like some of the activities already have done. And some of them they have not yet in the future. So we have like the pinpoint workshop. This workshops helped us to identify the needs of the public authorities, and this has happened in the two sessions. One happened in the spring, and the next one will happen the next month as well for the training webinars for the Protect community. This is also happened in the spring and will happen also in the next few months. And also we are continue to participate in a different event and synergy with other projects to share the knowledge and to learn also from the other project about the PCB. And as well also will be officially announcing for e-pitching sessions for the Earth observation climate service providers. It will be announced soon in the future. And in the end, also we will arrive in September for the open market consulting with the Earth observation services providers. This will start to happen in the September in this year. And the end, we will have like in the next, starting from the next year, we're like assured to engage the public authorities and to be preparing. We are preparing for the PCB codes. Thank you, Ioana. I give you the floor. And also,
Thank
if you
you
have
very
any
much.
questions, you can ask us, or you can contact us through the infoprotect@groupjc.com, or you can send us anything by social media also.
Thank you, Marwan. It was very interesting, the presentation. Now we will move on with the results and feedback from the Earth Observation Climate Services mapping. And I would like to remind to everyone to mute their microphones if they're not speaking. Thank you so much. So the objectives of the Earth Observation Climate Services mapping that we have been conducting in the last few months were first of all to identify and to give a brief overview to the public authorities that we are working with regarding the European Union market, and also regarding the technology that is being used nowadays, but also regarding the trends in order to see if their needs are matching the market or there are any specific gaps between these two. The methodology that we have been using, it is showcased in the picture in the right. We have started dissemination in the first. I'm sorry. So the mapping has been divided into stages. First of all, the first stage has happened between the 27th of October until the 15th of December. And the second stage happened between the 13th of February till the 20th of March. For each of the stage, we had a different approach of the dissemination, but it's based on the same actors. In the first stage, we had an approach top to down, which basically means that we have started from contacting the space agencies on European Union level, also space clusters, and also space incubators, and also networks and in order to help us disseminating the survey, in order to be able to reach out to as many providers as possible. And after that, we have done also a desk research, which has ended with identifying 181 climate services providers. In the second stage, we changed the approach from down to up in order to be able to get in touch with you, with the providers that you are attending today, in order to present the advantages of joining this project Protect. So therefore, the main objective was to get in touch one-to-one, and this happened either through consultations, either through direct contact via email or via LinkedIn. And after that, we went, we asked for dissemination support from the space agencies as well, and incubators and space clusters in order to give another push. As results, we have received 167 different contributions for different climate services from 115 different companies. And when it comes to the number of consultations offered, in the first stage, it was not a main focus. We were offering it only if it was requested by the providers' representatives, while in the second stage, we focused mainly on this. And some of you already know, because we had one-to-one meetings where I was explaining to you all the advantages that you can have and how the project is working. As results from the survey, from 167 contributions that we have received, when it comes to the number of countries that the climate services are coming from, we managed to gather climate services from 17 different countries of European Union. Of course, the majority is coming from the countries that we received more support regarding the dissemination part, but we tried as much as possible in order to get in touch with all the countries. When it comes to the type of enterprises, as it can be seen in the right up graph, we received contributions from all types of enterprises. Of course, a majority is based on the SMEs, but we also received from public organizations and others which are either still in the state of projects or research phases. When it comes to the 5 application domains that my colleague Marwan was telling you about, we have a repartition quite big when it comes to the agriculture and forestry and other land uses application domain, which is not quite surprising at all due to the demand that has been showed in the last couple of years. But between the first stage and the second stage of the mapping, we have noticed an increase in the 3 application domains, which are energy and utilities, security and civil protection, and also marine and coastal environment. We managed to get in touch more with research labs and also institutions that have started to develop projects or climate services linked to this. And this is one of our main results. At the same time, as you can see in this graph here regarding the TRL, we have a wide range of TRLs between 1 to 9 among the climate services. And I can say that between the first stage of the mapping and the second stage of the mapping, almost all the TRL levels have almost doubled in the number of climate services per TRL. These are the results. At the same time, this webinar is due to the consultations feedback that we received. We have discovered due to the consultation stage that not all the providers we have been in touch with have experience with innovation procurement or pre-commercial procurement, or it's not very clear. That's why we asked our colleagues from Korber's team to help us out with clarifying this part. So I will give the floor to my colleagues Beatriz, Ana Lucia, and Maria now.
Thank you very much, Joanna. I think Beatriz, take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Joanna. My name is Beatriz Gomez, and I'm legal procurement consultant at Korber's Procurement Services, and I will present this presentation with my colleague Ana Lucia. You can see her in the screen, and also my colleague Maria Campa that will join later today. Before going through the agenda, just a quick word about who we are. Basically, Korber's is a company based in the Netherlands, and we are experts in innovation procurement. So our role in this project basically is provide expertise in this field, and especially as it was said by my colleagues in pre-commercial procurement. So what we would like to talk about in this presentation, first give you an insight of what is innovation procurement, and also differentiate between the two main modalities, which are pre-commercial procurement and public procurement of innovative solutions. Then we will focus in PCP because it's the main aim of the project, and we will discuss when and how to use this instrument, and also the legal framework possibilities, and we will provide practical examples of successful cases that implemented this kind of innovation procurement. Then we will also make a reference to the benefits that this instrument has for companies and market opportunities. So that's probably will be more interested to know how it could benefit you in your activities. And we will finalize with some conclusions. If we go to the next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So I think that it's important to start from the very beginning and understand first what is innovation procurement. And for understand what is innovation procurement, it's important to understand or essential what is public procurement. So I will dedicate a minute just to give an idea of what we're talking about. So basically, when we talk about public procurement, we are talking about a situation in which a public entity has a need, something very basic. For example, I need tables for my offices, and I need to go to the market to buy the goods or the services that I need. So basically, I need something in order to perform my duties as a public organization, and I have to go to the market and ask for that. No, please stay in the previous one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the previous? Yeah, perfect, thank you. So basically, when we talk about public procurement, and you probably know that, if we need the tables, we go to the shop, to IKEA or any other shop, and we buy the tables. But the public entities cannot do that because there is public fund involved. So they have to open a competitive procedure in order to go to the market and say, okay, I need this, offer me what you can give me within this price, these conditions, etc. When we talk about innovation procurement, we are talking about basically the same, but in this case, we face a situation in which there is no a solution available in the market to satisfy my need. I cannot go to the market and buy tables because what I need requires a certain degree of innovation, more or less. So we will see that there are different kinds of innovation that may be required, but basically we are talking about solutions that are not, let's say, traditional solutions. Also, it's important to say that when we use innovation procurement, we can buy the development of the solution or already the deployment of a solution that is innovative. And here we distinguish between these two categories that you can see in the screen. The first is pre-commercial procurement. In this case, basically, I go to the market to buy research and development services because the solution doesn't exist. I have to develop that solution according to my need as a public entity. And on the other hand, we have public procurement of innovative solutions. In this case, we are not buying any more research and development services, but we are buying a solution. A solution that may be very close to the market, but still not there. Or is available in the market, but in small quantities, not in a generalized way. And I still need, as a public buyer, to do some modifications or some adaptations to see if it works in order to satisfy my needs. If we go to the next slide, the next question that probably comes to your mind is say, okay, we have two modalities, but when we use each of these modalities, how can we know the most suitable procedure? Well, for this, we have this scale that you can see in the screen that measures the technology readiness level of the solutions. What is this? Well, basically, it's the maturity of the solutions. How mature is the solution or the technology that I'm looking for? And you can see that it covers a spectrum from 1 to 9. TRL 1, when we have just a concept that still needs to be formulated, developed, so basically an idea. And then we have the TRL 9, in which we already have a system that it's proof that is working. It has been tested. We know that the system is working. So if we are in between a TRL 3 and a TRL 8, we need still some research and development. So we will use pre-commercial procurement. But if we already have a solution that we know that is working, then we have the public procurement of innovative solutions. Because perhaps even in that case, we still need to do some adaptations to see, well, each case is different. We are talking about an innovative solution. I have to ensure that the solution works for me. Of course, we have several ways to measure the technology readiness level. Unfortunately, we don't have time now to step and to explain this in detail. But basically, it's important to see what's going on the market. If there are patents, there are literature, there are standards concerning these technologies, etc. Can you please go to the next slide? I'm still in the same. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so in order to determine the technology readiness level, but also more in general, to design the innovation procurement procedure and to implement it, there is a methodology at the European level, which is called the EAFIP methodology. This methodology has been developed by Corbers in the framework of the EAFIP initiative. EAFIP is European Assistance for Innovation Procurement, and it's an initiative that has been, let's say, created by DG Connect and implemented by our company, and give you a very clear insight of the different steps that you have to follow when you want to conduct an innovation procurement project. And you can see here that it starts with the identification of needs. Of course, I have to, as a public buyer, know which are my needs, understand which are the needs, and also see what's going on in the market. That will be the second step, the state-of-the-art analysis, what I explained. I have to see if there are patents, if there are scientific articles, etc., in order to see which is the maturity of the solution. Then this is important for the providers, because in the point 3, in the open market consultation, the public procurer, once it has this analysis of the market, it cross-check it with you through an open market consultation. And here is when providers can provide feedback about how we are thinking, the conditions of the procurement, the timeline, the budget, etc. Also the requirements for participating or other kind of requirements to check if you find them acceptable. Also to tell us, okay, this I agree with your research, but you forget this, or you're missing this aspect. So basically, we give you all the information we have until now in order to receive your feedback. So this is your participation in this stage is going to be key. And then once we have that, of course, we continue with the design of the procurement and then with implementation. Next slide, please. Yeah, and in the next slide also, we will discuss now what is pre-commercial procurement, which is one of these modalities that we were discussing before. Can we move to the next slide? Thank you. So, well, when we talk about pre-commercial procurement, as I already mentioned before, basically the public entity or public procurer face a situation in which, well, they have a need. They obviously need something, a solution to satisfy that need, no, to cover that need, but they go to the market and there is nothing available. And even once they do this research of see what is in the market, they realize that even in the short, medium term, there are not going to be any solution that is, let's say, suitable for satisfying my needs. So he finds, I mean, the procurer finds itself in a situation in which he has to buy research and development services to develop that solution, in collaboration, of course, with the private operators. Next slide. Yeah, and it's important to have in mind what I said. So we are buying here research and development services. We are not buying solutions, as a general rule. We can buy some, let's say, some small quantities of the solution, but if we want to buy the solution itself, we will have to start another procedure. What are the main features of this procedure that make it so unique and so flexible? Well, first of all, it's a competitive development in phases, and you can see here in the right that we have a picture of the different phases. So usually, pre-commercial procurement has 3 phases. A first phase in which the contractors, because here we select more than one, design a solution. A second phase in which this solution is transformed into a prototype. And the third phase in which this prototype is tested in operative atmosphere. I mean, environments, let's say. So basically, the interesting part is that we have several contractors that they are competing with each other from the very beginning until the end. And as you can see, in the phase 1, we select usually desirable a minimum of 4 procurers, 4 contractors. For these 4 contractors, 3 will be selected for phase 2. And of these 3, minimum of 2 will be selected to phase 3. So basically, we have different KPIs, different milestones that have to be complied with in order to go to the next phase. And of course, this is very interesting for the procurer because the fact of having competition from the beginning until the end also encourages the providers to work harder, to offer better solutions, and also to offer better price, and also reduce the risk of vendor locking. Which is also, of course, very, very important in case of innovative solutions. A second feature is that we have a risk-benefit sharing under market conditions, and this is essential because, as we will see later, pre-commercial procurement is exempted for the European public procurement directives. And that means that it has to be some kind of sharing of the risk and benefits between the 2 parts, the providers and the public entity. A clear example is, for example, here, the distribution of intellectual property rights. Any intellectual property rights that are resulting from the procurement, as a general rule, will be left to the contractor. But in exchange, the public entity, of course, will receive a license to use that solution for free and for indefinite time. And in some cases, even to share that license with other public entities. And this is also important because, of course, if the public entity leaves the intellectual property rights with the contractor, it is expected that the contractor will offer a discounting price because it's not the same that you got the intellectual property rights that the procurer get it. And as I say, there is a clear separation between the procurement of the research and development services, which is the object of this procedure, and the purchase of the solutions, which, if we are interested, we will have to start a public procurement of innovative solutions. Next slide. Thank you. Here, very briefly, because I know the legal framework usually is not very popular, but in this case it's especially important because, as I said, this procedure or this approach is particular, is unique, because it's not subject as a general rule to the European Public Procurement Directives. So basically, if you're not familiar, the European Public Procurement Directives are let's say, a law with the basic conditions that any procurement should comply with at European level. And that means that all member states should comply also with that requirements. And of course, they list several procedures that you have to choose from when you want to conduct a procurement. But in this case, these procedures are not applicable. And the reason is, as I said, that we are only buying research and development services, not solutions. And that's the reason why they are exempted. However, that doesn't mean that as a procurer, I can do whatever I like. No, that's not the case, because we still have the general principles of the Treaty of Functioning of the European Union that are essential and needs to be ensured in any kind of procurement. Transparency, equal treatment, proportionality, non-discrimination, this is always applicable. And in this regard, the only, let's say, instrument that regulates in some way, because it's not a regulation itself, this instrument is the communication from the European Commission from 2007 that you can read here in the slide, that gives a definition of what is pre-commercial procurement and which are the main requirements that any procurement should comply in order to be exempted for the directive. And we also, of course, have to take in mind the regulation on research and development services, and of course, the regulation for state aid. Next slide. And well, here I thank you very much for your attention. And now I'm going to give the floor to my colleague, Ana Lucia, that she's going to explain you very interesting practical examples.
Thank you very much, Beatriz, for the clear explanation. And indeed, I would like to use some examples to show the benefits of PCP and how it works as a, an approach that can combine the research and development services on PCP and then a follow-up, a public procurement of innovative solutions. And one of the possibilities, the opportunities that pre-commercial procurement brings is that public buyers, based on their demand, their real needs, the genuine needs, can steer the innovation, can speed up the innovation, but requesting the research and development of services that they really need. And in this example, you see that the PCP has started with a vision on the future needs in the mid or long term. For example, in the case of the disinfection robots, the PCP was started by Danish hospitals in 2014 until 2016 to develop some robots that could disinfect with higher percentage of disinfectants of all viruses and bacteria within 10 minutes. These robots were started to be developed before even COVID. So by 2020, these disinfection robots were already available in the market. And as a matter of fact, the European Commission bought in the European Union, these robots were bought for different hospitals around Europe to fight COVID. And this was a really large order for this company that actually this small company, Blue Oceans Robotics, that was a Danish startup who developed these robots and became and grow as a big company. I think is now even a unicorn now that this because of these large orders of robots, they triggered the growth of the company and strengthened the position of European development of these robots also beyond Europe, across borders. The other case that I have here is the electrical roads. So in 2016, 2019, there was a PCP, a pre-commercial procurement conducted by the Swedish Traffic Authority to develop the e-traction system for heavy road transport vehicles. And two suppliers, in this case Siemens and Scania, successfully built the solutions that reduce the energy cost and the CO emissions to such levels that they pay back all the operational investments. And in 2022, Sweden announced the deployment of the first permanent electric road. So this is the idea of really steering the innovation and really pushing the market to develop the solutions that are really needed looking to the future. No? So the first electric road for transport vehicles to be operated by is going to be operated by 2025. You can find more examples and showcases in the website of DG Connect, and you will see how pre-commercial procurement is really steering innovation, and how companies can benefit from the participation on this type of procurement in order to open market opportunities and also give the chance for companies to grow. Can you go to the next slide, Ioana? Thank you. We have also some case examples from the European Assistance for Innovation Procurement, applying the methodology that Beatriz explained to you on the step-by-step approach. And I have here two examples that are from the Netherlands and from Belgium. One is the development of artificial intelligence models for the water management. This is a case from the Waterschapsbedrijf Limburg in the province of Limburg in the Netherlands. And they develop a big data platform using these models for AI and machine learning and cybersecurity measures to run a twin that could help them look into the whole pipe system and predict failures and respond to these failures using all the data available, also historical data, to identify in the best way the management of these services. And the other case is the Moonstrom, that is the Moonstrom Living Lab. This is a case that is focused on the flow, the people flow, user sensor data, Internet of Things, and machine learning on real time in a geospatial context. That is in Brussels, to provide the people with more services through apps and other ways to give them the best solutions to go from a point A to point B, and also have better services regarding the crowd management and the security of the spaces. This is also a lab, a living lab in one of the areas in Brussels. Next slide, please. So they have used both the pre-commercial procurement to give this pull of and push of technologies. And here you can see the first case, that's the case of VBL on the artificial intelligence models for water management. In this case, what they wanted is to develop algorithms that continually measure the values and provide intelligent signals that could use data of quality to monitor and to provide these insights through this control room, let's say, of BVL. I have included here some links where you could see how the prior information notice for the market consultation was informed to the public, and how the contract notice was published for companies to participate. In this case, there was also an interesting approach, because there were several lots. There was a lot on process automation, there was a lot about security, and a lot about the platform or big data, all together with the pre-commercial procurement that was carried in, let's say, in parallel. So the pre-commercial procurement results could be already incorporated in the contracts, the ongoing contracts of process automation, of security, of the big data platform. This was done by using value engineering clauses, so that the results and the improvements could be immediately implemented. So the research and development carried by through the pre-commercial procurement, through this competitive process, could provide new innovative solutions already to be applicable and implemented and purchased by the contractors in these other lots. Next slide, please. In the other example, we have this, you can pass it, that's the Moonstrom Living Lab, PCP. Here you see the graphic of the pre-commercial procurement that Beatriz has shown before, where you see the different phases. You see phase 0, where we have the open market consultation. And in the case of the Moonstrom Living Lab and the Moonstrom PCP, we had an open market consultation for the providers of technology and also an open client dialogue for potential users of these solutions that wanted to provide input on how the services should be developed in order to be able to also they use this type of solutions and yeah, provide input to the specifications and also be kind of observers of the whole procedure. So you see in the case of Moonstrom, the different phases, the phase 1 on the solution design, the prototype development, and finally the testing in the living lab in this case. So that the whole process of the PCP, and later on the phase 4 would be the actually purchase of the solutions, the deployment of the solution itself. This project wanted to measure and visualize the influence the multimodal people flow in La Place de la Monnaie, or the Moon Plain, providing information of the people flow in the outdoors and in the indoors. And this was also, that's interesting, a procurement by several procurers. So this was a joint procurement that could also, provide these solutions for the metro in Brussels, also the other public transportations, the parking company also. Here you can see some links where you could see the results of the market consultation if you want to get some insight of how the market consultation is conducted, the type of information that is covered, and how the report is provided. We also have the links to the contract notices and also more information about the project on the EAFIP website. That just to give you an idea of how of pre-commercial procurement projects and how they intend to, let's say, activate the potential of the market to create solutions that are really needed for the improvement of public services. The next slide, please. So we go now more in depth into the benefits for companies and market opportunities. So innovation procurement has benefits for both the supply and the demand side. Of course, for the supply side is interesting because it's opening concrete business opportunities based on the demand of the public buyers. It's trying to speed up the time to market innovation. So, providing funding for the companies to develop the solutions that really require to improve the public services, is also attracting investors and have the possibility to scale up internationally. We see this in the cases of EU-funded projects, but also nationally funded pre-CPs, that companies had this potential to develop these solutions that really important, that really applicable, and that are attracting investors because of the use of these solutions. And also these solutions have been exported to other countries outside Europe. That is as a result of experience and we could see some other cases and other examples. Also, we'll see a video about it. And it's also creating jobs and is providing this technological leadership of European companies. For the demand side, as we mentioned, pre-commercial procurement gives this potential of speeding the R&D capabilities to improve the quality and efficiency of the services, and to also address these wider societal challenges that we are facing at the moment. The next slide, please. So this is a push-pull combination of, let's say, approach to bring together and bridge the supply and demand side. So to go more in depth into the benefits and opportunities of pre-commercial procurement, we are going to give you some examples. This is based on experience already obtained from already pre-commercial procurement that have been conducted and then deployed and follow up as part of, for example, the FP7 program of the European Commission, of the Horizon Europe program. So these are results already tangible that we could see that this contributes to improve the quality and efficiency of public services because of the solutions delivered by the PCP. One important thing from procurers that are using pre-commercial procurement is that they are obtaining more open and interoperable solutions. The possibility to, or the setup that implies that PCP, that is the purchase of R&D services, and later on the actually deployment of the commercial volumes using the public procurement of innovative solutions is providing some benefits. For example, it's opening the market for small players because in the R&D phase, the thresholds for the participation of smaller companies are really lower, and it is really triggering these participations, as we will see in the numbers of companies that participate in pre-commercial procurement. It also enables that the procurements are steering the R&D to meet their needs, as we mentioned before, and it stimulates the cooperation with universities and larger companies. Because pre-commercial procurement is falling outside the scope of the European directives, as Beatriz explained before, this enables to set certain conditions, for example, to use the place of performance clauses to actually request that the R&D is performed in Europe. So that means that this creates the growth and jobs in Europe as well. Next slide, please. I'm going fast. So some of the other benefits is the joint cross-border pre-commercial procurement, because through pre-commercial procurement, we can have an aggregated demand, that this is the case of Protect, that several procurers will be procuring for solutions. We leave in the IPR ownership to the contractors, and this shows also that it's benefiting the procurers because it reduces the costs in 50%, it's seen, and encourages also the wider commercialization of solutions by the vendors. Yeah, indeed, using the performance conditions in the PCPs can stimulate the job creation in Europe. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we do see that the PCP is boosting business opportunities for SMEs and startups. And as a matter of fact, we see that 70% instead of the 30% of the traditional contracts is actually awarded to SMEs and startups, and that innovation procurement is quite, really having an impact in their growth. We also see that as I mentioned, the interoperable solutions and the uptake of open standards is greater in PCP. Actually, 40% of innovation procurements are done to obtain more interoperable solutions. And we see also that this is attractive venture capital. We see that, also Maria is going to tackle this, but 61.5% of the total value of all PCP contracts goes directly to SME, and 30% of these SMEs that participated, especially in the FP7 funded PCPs, are today already backed up by venture capital. Next slide, please. All in all, this also is reinforcing the strategic autonomy of Europe, because the solutions are developing in Europe for Europe, but also exported abroad. And this really helping to push the market transition to achieve these important sector goals and addressing the societal challenge, such as the green transition and the digital transition that is very relevant in the framework of the Protect project. Next slide, please. So here, just a slide for you, some numbers of how the commercialization of solutions have been performed. You see that the contractors that have participated in the phases of the PCP have a greater chance to commercialize their solutions. You see that also in these slides that the business growth is tangible. So 50% of the contractors, for example, have already increased their revenues thanks to the PCP. 24% plus startups have secured equity investments since the PCP, and 80% of the startups that participated in the PCP actually concluded partnership with larger companies. So these are important numbers to see how PCP can benefit small companies. It can really trigger the potential of them for growing. Next slide, please. So we have conducted a survey and to ask you what are the key factors for you or companies to participate and engage in a PCP project. And here are some of the results. You want to know about the company growth. We have talked about that. We have talked about the new markets and the shortening time to the innovation. So we want to, through this presentation, also cover these expectations that you have or these interests that you have in order to participate in a pre-commercial procurement. Next slide, please. And regarding the aspects you wanted to learn about, we see that you wanted to learn more about the market opportunities and how to apply to a PCP, what is the setup of the PCP. We have tackled most of these aspects, but of course you're welcome to ask any questions. And regarding how to apply to a PCP tender, we have a short slide to give you an insight on that. Next slide, please. And also about the venture capital opportunities. So how to apply for a PCP? We will open the possibility to participate in an open market consultation. There will be a prior information published on TED, and the market operators, providers can register to participate in this market consultation to learn more about the plans of public buyers to actually carry out a pre-commercial procurement or a public procurement of innovative solutions and see what the opportunities are. After the market consultation and with the feedback, with this insight that we have to get from the market, we will define a tender strategy and the tender documents, and a contract notice is going to be published on TED. With this contract notice, there will be a request for tenders and some models of framework agreements and phase contracts. In this request for tender, there will be a specific exclusion criteria, selection criteria, and award criteria that the companies need to take into account. Normally, companies need to fill in a European standard procurement form. And of course, present a technical and financial offer, and also, taking into account the IPR discount. So these documents will be provided. And after the tender, there will be a contract award, and the different phases will be conducted, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 for the design, the development of the prototype, and then the prototype validation. So this is, in a nutshell, how to apply for a PCP. So I encourage your participation in the open market consultation, and you will receive also the information when the contract notice is being published. Thank you very much. I give the floor to Maria. I think the next slide is for her.
Thank you very much, Anna. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Perfect. So I will briefly go through the topic of the venture capital opportunities that exist in conjunction with the pre-commercial procurement. So connecting back to the benefits for the companies that derive from a PCP and the impacts that Anna presented and the market opportunities, I would like to dive into the VC opportunities that exist in connection with the PCP. Currently, we are in the process of conducting an analysis in order to see how the said topic is connected. And in the next slide, I will just provide you some insights from this analysis. So first of all, according to the maturity level of each solution, a VC-backed firm will receive a specific round of financing that is sufficient in order to reach a specific milestone that is connected with, for example, the development of the prototype product or the acquisition of a demand base or a major customer. This is how the VCs are currently working. And after each specific milestone that it is set, the companies and the venture capitals return back to the negotiating table, and they have some new information that they bring to the table, and they renegotiate again for the next milestone to be set and the next funding round. Similar to the ways that the VC works, the pre-commercial procurement has, let's say, this same stage or phased approach, as we have three phases, as they were presented earlier, which are connected to specific milestones, the delivery of the design, the delivery of the prototype, and the actual operational testing of the solutions that needs to be developed, that are set during the contract agreement between the contractors and the contracting authorities. So this similarity in the two approaches, this phase, let's say, approach, helps several companies that participate in a pre-commercial procurement to attract the VC financing along all the three phases. From the analysis that we have conducted, the first signals show that there is a higher also growth rate of the VC-backed companies compared to the non-VC-backed companies that participate in a PCP. Next slide, please. So, in addition to the above, we're currently also working in a framework of benefits for all the actors involved in the overall schema, let's say, that a PCP has. So we have the contracting authorities, the VCs, and the contractors, and each one of them has some specific, let's say, benefits from their participation in pre-commercial procurement. The contracting authorities, on their side, they aim to have a sustainable solution that will support their needs. This is closely connected with the contractors, which they aim to commercialize their solution, and they, of course, want to have a business growth. And finally, we have in the game the venture capitals, which their main, let's say, purpose is to ensure profitable investment and have an easy exit strategy. Having this framework in mind, we would like to share with you some key takeaways from the overall research. So it is important while participating in a pre-commercial procurement to also have in place a solid commercialization plan, because this is something that will back up, let's say, the investment, the profitability of the investment for the VCs. In addition to that, and in close collaboration, the PCP offers to a company a concrete demand base. So this means that the commercialization plan is more concrete, having already the first customers that are willing to buy the end product. From the initial, let's say, signals of our analysis, we have seen that phase 3, where the solution is operationally validated, seems more attractive to the venture capitals, especially the private ones, as it de-risks their investment. And last but not least, it's important to highlight that the collaboration with the contracting authorities is really important throughout the whole PCP activities in order to promote the results to a wider audience and attract more commercialization opportunities. So this is from my side, and I think the next slide is the conclusions, where Anna or Beatriz will take the step here.
Thank you, Maria. Just briefly, so now you know that the pre-commercial procurement is the purchase of R&D for breakthrough innovative solutions in a competitive process in phases. And this approach of PCP can steer the developments based on the public demands to speed up the time to market of innovative solutions. This setup of pre-commercial procurement allows for conditions that are beneficial for small companies to create synergies and participate in PCP. Providing the funding for the R&D for the development. Pre-commercial procurement has proven to open opportunities for the aggregate demand and the creation of new markets, as we see from the examples of FP7, also the Horizon 2020 program. And suppliers can benefit also obtaining the first reference from the public customers in the PCP, and achieve also company growth commercializing their solutions in Europe and abroad, as we have seen on some examples like the Danish disinfection robots, also as we will see from Aqua Green, that is some of also companies that are really growing fast. Pre-commercial procurement is also supporting further commercialization opportunities and attracting venture capitals, as Maria will explain. Well, thank you very much. I think we're a little bit over the time, but yeah, we started a little bit later. Yeah.
Thank you, Ana Lucia. Thank you, Beatriz. Thank you, Maria. Now we're going to move on with the innovation procurement project examples, and maybe Ana Lucia or Beatriz would like to jump in.
Yes, thank you, Joanna. We have chosen for you, selected some interesting videos where the suppliers have testimonies on their experience with pre-commercial procurement and how this has been beneficial for their companies. If you want to see the whole videos, you can go to the website of IAFIP and look into the webinars that we have published and promoted, and you can find more information. But here we have some examples. This is the Aquagreen example. This is a supplier from Denmark, and this is a company that's really grown up thanks to the developments obtained on PCP of how to actually turn waste into resources. Yeah.
And now I will play the video for you. It's a 25 minutes video, and we will try to see how we can manage it to be on time with everything.
Yeah.
My name is Andreas.
Is
I'm
it
the
working?
Business Development Manager
Yes.
at Aquagreen. I've been here for a year, and that basically turns me into a veteran because this company is growing very fast at the moment. I'm here to talk a bit about the travel or the journey we have been on since we started the company and up until now. The company was founded back in 2014 by the two gentlemen you see in the photograph here. At the time, they had the idea that thermal treatment of biomasses could make a big difference towards the planetary challenges we face back then, but also today. So one of the big challenges today is that we have to recirculate the nutrients in the sewage sludge as one of the biomasses we can treat. So today, phosphorus is one of the top 100 critical resources on the EU list. And this is something that we can help with. Another challenge is that we have to secure our groundwater. Today, the human beings we are producing tons of different products, and they all carry different kinds of chemicals. And some of these chemicals end up in the wastewater, and they end up in the soil when we bring sewage sludge to farmland. And this is something we would like to be able to handle as well, because some of these chemicals are toxic to plants, and they can be toxic to animals and to human beings as well. Then I think there's no doubt that we have to do something about the climate. We have to reduce the CO2 emissions, and this is something we can help with as well, because today when you drive sludge to farmland, before you do that, you pile it up, and during that period, the sludge emits CO2 and methane and aftergas, and this is not very good for the climate. And then finally, one of our missions is to make sure that we make renewable energy as opposed to fossil energy, and this is more relevant than But to come from these missions and to bring that to life requires a lot of time and requires a lot of funding. But fortunately enough, back in 2016, 8 utility companies in Denmark and the Danish Water and Wastewater Organization, Denmark, came together to make this pre-commercial procurement project. The purpose was to look for innovative wastewater solutions that could contribute to the handling of important social and environmental challenges. And the idea was to utilize and recirculate these resources in the wastewater sector. And this, of course, was very well in line with our mission statements. So we applied for this contest, and were lucky enough to get a funding of a pre-project, where we then teamed up with different partners in Denmark. So the Technical University of Denmark, DTU, and the Copenhagen University, the Technological Institute in Denmark, and others. And the project description was to develop new technology so that can transform sewage sludge into biochar in an energy efficient way in order to recirculate and utilize the bioresources. And then because, as I mentioned, that we sometimes find organic pollutants and other kinds of pollutants in the sewage sludge, we were very much interested to see whether we could handle these pollutants in the biochar by using our technology. And finally, we wanted to analyze if the end product, the biochar, could be used as a fertilizer and a soil improvement. So we participated in this contest, and luckily enough for us, we were granted quite a large amount of funding and money to continue with our mission and our goal. So we were granted the money in 2016, and then in 2016 we started building our dream, which was a kind of an integrated steam dryer and pyrolysis unit. So before that, we have been working on pyrolysis and steam drying as a separate unit, but now we wanted to make an integrated unit that carried a lot of advantages. And maybe I should just mention, my name is Andreas. I'm the Business Development Manager at AquaGreen. I've been here for CO2 and methane. And
I am really sorry for this.
And the idea.
Ioana, maybe it's better we send the link in the chat,
Yes.
and maybe it will be much better like
I
that.
think
Everyone
at
can
this
see it.
moment, it's better. And just so you know, there are 2 more examples if you want to take a look at it, and where providers who have been participating in PCPs, they are sharing their experience and their inputs and their takeaways. As you can see. So this presentation will be available at the end of this webinar, and now we can move on. And I would like to thank to the corporate procurement services team, including to Beatriz, Ana Lucia, but also Maria. And if that's okay with everyone now, we can stop the recording because we will move to the Q&A session, and we would like this